the chance that we're even here is so incredible, that we were born, and we're constantly looking outside of ourselves for a miracle, and we are the miracles. So we need to start to believe that, and it's took a bit of belief work for me, but I 100% believe that the universe completely has my back. So even when negative things are happening, I still think, what's coming from this, and I get excited actually now, because that is a genuine belief, but it's knowing that you will always get the best if you keep having that mindset around it, and you deserve it as well. We do deserve to be happy. That was our birthright, but unfortunately conditioning and the way we're all brought up and the way that society works, it tells us that we're not, but we are.
Absolutely. Again, I resonate with that. I'm just recalling moments in my, I guess, childhood where you were told that you would never amount to anything, or you don't deserve to get X, Y, Z, you're not good enough. So the conditioning that you go through right from day one shapes you as you progress into adulthood. And I had to do a lot of work to kind of re-look at those moments again, and for me it was to reframe those moments rather than looking at them in a negative way, to say, look, those things happened. I've gone through a period where I feel that I wasn't deserving, and I was doing what I was conditioned to do, which is to limit myself. But now I'm glad, because I can now look at it from the other side and appreciate that moment, rather than being, a lot of people look back and have resentment and anger at the things that have happened in the past. And that in itself, for me, is another blocker. You're blocking yourself from moving forward. But when you're able to look back and be at peace with it and say thank you to those people, which is, again, kind of going into my chapter now, but to say thank you to those people that have said or limited me in the past, and say thank you for doing that, because I now am a better person to look back and, to understand that I am deserving. I am able to receive love and whatever the universe has to offer.
Yeah. And I felt that when I was reading your story, Kamil, that there was so many synergies, your story and my story, and I could feel the commonality between it. So there was so much resonated. So please don't hold back on that as well. And that's what I love to get across, because I'm no different to anyone else. I live in a small town in the north of England, and that is probably one of the places where people say, you're not going to amount to anything. No one from Whitehaven, becomes famous or anything like that, or changes their course of their life. And, I was a redheaded girl from there, and I never actually envisaged any of this for me. And it was just suddenly something shifted. So it doesn't matter where anybody's at the minute, you can rewrite your own script, and you can literally, the past has already been written. Whatever's happened, you'll have had your own stories that you can connect to, like mine and Kamil's story, but that's already been written. But actually you've got the pen and paper to write the future now, so you can do that as well. I want people to know that they can do that, whatever is happening.
I love that analogy of a blank journal. Why not get a pen and a piece of paper, or kind of a journal, and start writing your story from now, rather than looking back and being resentful or kind of regretting the past. It's not over yet. I still consider myself, I'm at half time. The first half is done, fine, have a look at it. I'm into football, so look at the first half, I'm at half time. I still got a second half, which I can still win, right? Yeah. So, just looking at that football analogy there. Rachel, I want to come back to your work now, your line of work as a coach. Do you mind just explaining a little bit about your line of work and the key lessons that you've experienced during, your coaching?
Yeah, so I mainly coach women, but it's not closed off, it's open to anyone. But what I find is I use the manifesting practices that I teach, but also help them connect in with their own intuition and their own inner guidance, and to be able to connect with the universe on that wider scale. So I mainly work with women, and what I find working with women in particular is that they put their desires and dreams probably on the back burner for different reasons. We're conditioned to think that we should be the ones caring for others and supporting others, and often they find it hard to say what they want, and even there's a block to the thought of manifesting because they feel it's potentially just about getting your own way. And what I look at is how it's a connection with the universe, it's a connection with themselves and their own intuition, and really tapping into what their soul wants to do, what their soul desires are. So we've all got very different desires. We've all got very different visions of what we want our life to be. But often it's just helping people understand that they can dream that vision, and that can become the reality once they start to be intentional about it. So it's really uncovering that, who is it they want to be, who is underneath all them layers, who do they, how do they want to live their life, how do they want to feel, rather than how they've been told or conditioned to feel. So I run a program which is a 12-week program called Unleash, and that is really about unleashing that version of you that knows exactly who they are, knows exactly what they want, and knows how to go and get it, and stepping into that version of you that is powerful, really, and running their own life rather than being dictated to, or just like your piece of driftwood. I love that analogy. So yeah.
You mentioned one of the key things that you do. You mentioned about EFT. But again, it's something new to me, so I'd love to know what that is.
Yeah, so it's emotional freedom technique, and it's based on lots of different things, but mainly the Chinese meridian points, which flow through your body. And when you use a tapping method and say affirmations, both negative and positive, and work around your body on these tapping points, actually it releases the energy that's being built up around these limiting beliefs that you may have. So it's a self-healing tool, and I do teach that to people, but you can do sessions where you work through it together as a practitioner. But what it does is you put the negative thoughts and feelings that are coming up from whatever belief you have, and as you say it and you're tapping on these points, which looks a bit crazy because some of them are, they're all over your face, so you tap different areas of your face.
So specific points around the body.
Yeah, specific points mainly. So you'll start with your karate chop point here, but then work around your face, your head, and just under your arm on your bra line, which you don't have.
Well, you never know.
But around there. And what it does is it takes that information in, and your subconscious just reabsorbs it and gives you the real meaning. So it really does uncover what you are actually thinking rather than what you believe you're thinking. So I had a huge belief that other people were better than me. I grew up in a family of 4. I was kind of the middle one in that. And I really just put others first and felt that they were better. And it played out in when I went for jobs and things like that. I would always hold myself back because of that belief. And I come across tapping, and I went to have a session with someone who was a practitioner at the time. And we managed to clear that belief in that session, and it just totally freed so much up for me, and it just inspired me to learn it myself. So now I teach it in everything I do, really. But it's such a powerful tool, and I love that what I love about it is that people can do it and adopt it themselves. You don't need to keep going to see a practitioner. You can learn it and use it in your own daily life.
Wow, thank you for explaining that. I mean, it's new to me, so I'd love to know more about it. And it sounds, is it kind of similar to acupuncture comes to mind, where you've got specific points around the body, and you know, you place these needles, which I guess releases energy. You can get the negative energy out from you. So
and it is exactly the same points that you'll use in tapping. So it's all linked to the meridian points. And I suppose the best way I could explain it is, when you have these beliefs, obviously you've got your prana, your chi running through these energy centers, these meridian points. And when you have these beliefs, I suppose the energy gets, I like to say, it gets slightly knotted, and you know, it blocks that flow, which is what acupuncture wants to do. It wants to get the flow and alignment through. So from doing the tapping, when you're physically tapping on the points and you're saying a phrase that relates to what it is that you believe. So say, I don't feel good enough, I feel like I'm not safe, whatever that is for you, it then connects and frees up that energy that's built up around that. It's working exactly the same. It's releasing that energy, and you're doing it on that specific feeling or thought that you might have. And what you'll find is your body will react in different ways. Some people have no reaction to it, but they just feel, you know, they feel it lifted, like the belief lifting. Other people, they might yawn, they might cry, they might laugh. You know, you have different reactions as the energy is lifting and shifting, and it's really powerful.